안녕하십니까? 5G Vertical Summit 2020 둘째 날 오후 세션 좌장을 맡게 된 아주대학교 교수 김재현입니다. 반갑습니다. 저희 세션은 우선 스마트시티와 재난 안전에 관련된 세션이고요. 크게 보면은 키노트 스피치 한 분과 네 분의 연사분의 발표로 구성이 되어 있습니다. 그래서 우선은 저희가 첫 번째 발표로서 노키아의 국제 표준 본부장님을 맡고 계신 울리히 드랍만의 내용으로는 5G Enabling City as a Platform에 대해서 저희가 좋은 발표를 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 이제 부탁드립니다.
It is my pleasure to speak to you today about 5G enabling city as a platform as part of the 2020 5G Vertical Summit in Korea of the Smart City session. Last year I was with you in person speaking about the role of industrial 5G, and I enjoyed very much the presence, the energy, the good discussion, and also the friendship that we enjoyed. And I look forward to be with you then, maybe in the next year's session. So because of the travel restriction with the pandemic, I will speak to you this time only via this pre-recorded presentation. I will talk about a couple of things. First, what are the trends and the drivers for City as a platform? Note that I speak here with a global perspective, and Nokia is engaged, of course, both on the development of the 5G network as well as in the business of providing these platforms for the systems for the smart city, and I will speak about both of this. That said, I think there's probably few cities, if at all, and few countries that are as far advanced in the digital transformation, in the deployment of 5G, and also deploying smart city and other related applications to the citizen. So bear with me if you find some of these use cases and scenarios, maybe you find yourself being more advanced because we speak a bit about how we see things globally and act globally. So first I will start about the trends and the drivers that lead cities to undertake these issues. And here indeed, I'm really speak to the city as an administration. So there are certain drivers and substantial changes that call for digital transformation and then given economic incentives for cities to address this. And these are known around, for most cases, for a couple of times already. And of course, they drive the digital transformation like in other sectors, but here down to the need of citizen and municipality. So we have these changes and challenges coming from the climate change, coming from the demographic, with the increasing urbanization, with an aging society in many cities, the need to provide economic growth to the citizens, the restrained resources, in particular, for example, water, electricity, that come also with the climate change, and to be environmental safe and sound. And of course, the coronavirus. So we see in many municipalities that haven't taken up the topic with the right level of importance so far. I think they have now taken the need of to be able to interconnect completely virtual with the citizens now due to the coronavirus impact. Next, to enable that city as a platform, we have certain technology enablers that has happened recently. To start with, the obvious is 4G mobile broadband networks and now the deployment of 5G. The advancement of IoT devices, also with the role of of 4G networks with a narrowband IoT and the likes. The advancement also in end devices with the augmented and virtual reality, the advances in the automation of robotics, intelligent artificial intelligence, and the hybrid cloud. So what are benefits to deploying City as a platform for the public sector as well as the citizen? So we have an always on agility that means we are connecting everything, and we can be much more dynamic in terms of how we optimize certain resources like the electrical light system or the water system or the like. We are able to connect citizen and provide the municipality services to citizen, by that being more friendly and citizen centric in the approach, rather than showing up at some town hall or office. And of course, it allows also the municipality to have budget and revenue transformation, because it allows to provide a platform where then others can develop application on top. So what we see is there is three foundations, and we see maybe an order of magnitude in increase of economic value as far as we go from one of this step to the next one. So the foundation is the connectivity as a foundation with the essential role of 5G, but not only, also, of course, the backbone in fiber and optical networks. To address the digital divide, so that is certainly something where Korea is well advanced, but are world leading to say. But of course, there are cities. So this speaks to that, municipalities where it is important to have not a digital divide in order to be competitive for their small businesses. And then we have the service delivery on the platform on top of this, where we can deliver the government-related services, but also having a platform for new programs and value creation. And then a city invite innovation. So what we see is a couple of components to make a City as a platform solution. First, we have the connectivity, and I will speak for the large part about the connectivity aspect itself. Then the analytics platform and the integrated operating system, and I will speak to that then in the last part of my presentation. Then the assets become intelligent. We have coined the term the digital twins, which means that every real asset, every physical asset has a digital representation. And we see this, of course, more and more with the traffic lights and with the buses and the electrical light system and the CCTV and the parking space, which has a sensor. So there is every time a digital representation that then there is a knowledge in the operating center of the state of every of these physical assets. And on top of that is then the next generation services which are delivered. So first, the foundation of enabling City as a service. So I speak about where we are with 5G, and maybe because it's a 5G summit, others before me or afterwards will also touch upon the topic, but I think it's needed to establish the basis of where we are today. But it's not only about 5G, and I will use this slide to talk about the other technologies. Of course, the backbone of the fiber optical backbone network is key first to deliver the broadband services. It is also key to have fiber to the home, where I guess Korea is really world leading. So you have 1 gigabit services to the citizen at home, and as a access and backhaul network, of course, for the 5G network backhauling to transport the huge data rates, but also to allow optimal performance of the networks in the radio access network. So the fiber optical network, along with the IP and the fixed network, are certainly a very key component of the backbone of this city as a platform. But I will speak a bit more on 5G now. So first, to start with, where are we? So I did this slide similarly last year, showing then some of our base stations on top of some roof in some cities in South Korea. But this now, the traffic has been quite substantially growing, and the subscriber have been now substantially growing. So it is really a success story and the leadership of Korean operators and the society at large. So as of today, or maybe end of August and end of September are these figures, we have then 10 million 5G subscriber, which is 15%. If you then look at the data traffic, 1/3 of the data traffic is already 5G traffic. And another last figure, it is 25 gigabyte data per user per month in average over a 5G subscription. So this is almost 3 times as much as the subscribers with the LTE subscription. So very successfully, well deployed and covered country, and of course city, and strongly growing network. So Nokia is proud to be a provider of all 3 national operators in Korea, and as of today, we have over 100 commercial deals, and a large part of these are already commercially, like in Korea. And the 5G technology or the 5G use cases evolve. So we have seen in 2019, maybe as a starting point, then the first market with launches, like indeed Korea as a front runner, with the release 15 version, non-standalone, and globally speaking, we have seen 2 types of services. This is enhanced mobile broadband services with 5G enabled smartphones, and then also fixed wireless access in areas where the homes aren't as well deserved as in the Seoul areas, and in many countries where the fiber optic backbone or access to the home is not well developed. Fixed wireless access has proven a very interesting opportunity to get a user service in several tens of megabit order of magnitude up to 100. So this is very attractive. And then in this year, there was then the launch of many other networks, and then in first countries moving from non-standalone to standalone. And we see all in this year then new service capabilities and an increase in new devices and ecosystem. And we expect then in 2021 and 2022, then the mass market of 5G networks being really happening. So first, the mass market of non-standalone, and then the growth of standalone market. We see then with release 16, which is about to be finalized in 3GPP, new features which will then come to the market and which will be implemented and available to services in this time frame. So we see also there the start of enterprise and private 5G networks. There may be some areas even where citywide networks are built up as a private network, maybe for special cases on dedicated spectrum. And in most cases, however, this will be run over the public network as such. And private networks is also a big topic, of course, if you talk about smart manufacturing. And then in 2022, we do expect a mass market of standalone network and services, and then slowly release 17 features then coming into the market. As a consequence, this is how we see also the commercial use cases evolving over the period. I spoke about some of this. So these early use cases in 2019, how they were positioned towards the end customer, and then going onward. We have here highlighted a couple of key areas, and one is here the smart and safe city, what you call, and we bundled some of the services which you believe are key to a smart city offering into this. For example, here AR-enabled tourism. This is certainly possible with the handsets available and with the Korean Imperial Palace, maybe as a hot tourist attraction being deserved by such services. And then this continues with connected ambulance and connected first responders. As said, this timeline is like a global timeline, and maybe even Seoul as a city maybe a bit more aggressive. But it means you need both the capability available, for example, to do connected ambulance. The connectivity needs to be fast and reliable if it is really 5G type services that you want to provide. They have to be there every time and ultra reliable. So in that sense, you need to establish, well, you need to first have a very reliable coverage, and second, you need to have deployed functionalities such as end-to-end slicing to get dedicated resources. And then, first responders and traffic systems. So the fact that you have then the coverage, the fact that you have release 16 and 17 features available. As a technology behind City as a Service, I want to spend a bit of time on the evolution of UEP standards. So now we are about to finalize, or we have finalized, but we need still to stabilize, so to speak, the release 16 version of the standard. And we grouped this into a couple of places. So this was taken from some talk, which was more on industrial IoT, but we can also tell the story. What of those features are really critical and important for the smart city type of scenarios? Certainly also ultra reliable low latency is a functionality that is very important. High positioning, high accuracy positioning as well. Then we see as a big topic then coming the support of railways and maybe also of trains and subways and so on, with sort of application layer support for PMIR type services. And then network, what we call network deployment and automation type features. We have grouped here the features to these categories. And maybe to highlight is the whole journey with network slicing and network automation. So in order to have dedicated non-mobile broadband related services running reliably on 5G, you want to deploy slices. So you taking this example with the ambulance. So you would offer a service to the medical service and the ambulance system, and they get a dedicated slice with a dedicated quality assigned to them, and they run sort of a virtual private network in that way for this connected ambulance application. And we see other critical application who need this type of slice scenario. And as a last topic, which I will speak a bit now, is the NR Lite. NR Lite is a topic that benefits quite strongly the vertical sector the industrial IoT, but also the smart city. So it is a UI capability. 3GPP means this reduced complexity devices in their study, which was undergoing for release 17, and it means that we support devices that are maybe not as performant as the extreme over broadband related 5G devices, but are then less cost sensitive or less costly, less complex. So with that, then we can very well realize these different modems for devices which do not need that high of a data rate, but which are still cost sensitive. So we have, for example, some example is a video camera or a remote control drone. We still want to see the latency. It is not like a parking sensor or so, which emits a limited amount of data, but it is, of course, much less than if you have your high-end smartphone and you run your 4K YouTube video on top of this. This is certainly not needed. So this is the category which we see, and we believe this has a key role to play. So you can of course ask why you are on 5G, because it is kind of taking a little bit the edge off what 5G can do in its peak data performance. But then you optimize some other areas like the cost and like the coverage enhancement features are also there, which is very welcome for many of these outdoor applications. And as the last point, I will talk to you about the platform itself behind the platform as a services. So Nokia not only provides the 5G networks, but we also provide integrated operation centers. Of course, we provide those software suites for our operators in order to operate their network. But we also provide this with dedicated applications and the dedicated modules to municipality, in fact. And we call this now city as a platform in our strategy. And here you see a view here of a city in Europe, and then the different elements of a smart city application. So this is a schematic display of what you saw before. So at the center is this Nokia integrated operation centers, so which is a single glass wall, as you can see. You have a unified view on the applications you run, on the devices that you that are connected to this. So here below you see a couple of devices. Here you see whatever electric car with the battery status. You see maybe a car to car. You see trash can and the like. Some water measure, electric light, and okay. So you see all these assets which are connected and sensors. And then there are pre-integrated a couple of application modules already into this, and then of course more applications can be deployed. So, for example, unified asset management, smart traffic management, waste management, and faster responses to incidences through automation. So, all these kind of things which are relevant as a smart city application can be then provided by this platform. Here is a slightly principal technical view. So we have then a couple of modules below, so to provide the connectivity, to provide the analytics, and then the connection to the different subsystems and the software platform itself. And on top, there are then a couple of pre-configured applications, smart parking, smart lighting, video solutions for enhancing security. So you monitor and you see any any anomaly and act on that, often for security concern, environmental sensing, air quality and the like, and waste management, so that you only empty the trash can if it is actually full. So those kind of things are then integrated, and others can be then added to the platform. And with that, I would like to come to the end of my presentation. So we really see the city as a smartphone developing in this three-step. The foundation is, of course, the essential role of 5G and other connectivity. And on top, the city-driven digital service delivery and data value platform. And on top of that, we see then also innovations to take place. So applications that are relevant for the municipality and the public sector as such, but also through APIs of this platform, making this then available to citizens and local business to create their own solutions. With that, I would like to thank you for your attention. Unfortunately, I'm not available for any questions because of the time difference, and I wish you a good rest of the session, and I look forward to see you hopefully then next year.
네. 네, 우선 그 울리히 드랍만은 작년에도 제가 뵙고 한번 얘기를 했던 것 같습니다. 그래서 그 노키아의 국제 표준을 담당하고 계시고요. 역시 그 릴리즈 15, 16 주요 기술부터 플랫폼, 그다음에 유즈 케이스, 뭐 스마트 라이팅이라든지 이런 것까지 총괄적으로 얘기를 잘 해주신 것 같습니다. 다시 한번 노키아의 울리히 드랍만님께 다시 한번 감사를 드리고요.